Forget the former things, and do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. A way in the wilderness. I think we're living in wilderness times. I think you only need to turn on a television or read a newspaper or go online to see that this is a wilderness time. A time that feels like a wasteland. Poverty and violence surround us. Terrorism and displacement, impending global catastrophe, rampant and unchecked capitalism. All of these things fill up our television screens and our newspapers. These are wilderness times. Times of deep spiritual dryness, times of moral aridity. These are desert times. And in times like these, it can be hard to feel hopeful. It can be hard to continue our testimony of peace and goodwill to the world. In times like these, it can be hard to see the light, hard to recognize the tender movements of love. For New Garden Friends Meeting, it may feel like a wilderness time. Certainly, it's a time of upheaval, of huge changes, a time of things passing away, a time where traditions of the last 20 or 30 or 40 or 60 years may be coming to an end, or where traditions may be changing so that they seem unrecognizable. One good example, of course, is our relationship to North Carolina yearly meeting FUM, which is uncertain at best. This is a community of vast joy, of faithfulness and courage. But I have spent the last several months listening to all of you, and although there is joy and excitement, there is also some worry, and perhaps even some fear about what the future might bring. What is this time that we are in? What is happening in the life of our meeting? And what is happening in our world? And what should we do? Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams of living water in the wasteland. I've brought a message on this passage at least 3 times in the past because it is one that I myself turn to in uncertain times. And frankly, there's been a lot of uncertain times lately. We kind of live in an uncertain world. This passage speaks to me about hope for the future, certainly, and hope for the present. And also, it speaks to me about finding nourishment, sustaining life, something powerful and vibrant, even during those difficult wilderness times. It teaches me about the vast creative energy of our world. An energy that makes possible new things springing to life, even in what may seem like a wasteland. It teaches me that there is always something new happening, that there is always something creative and powerful and vibrant, even about the driest, darkest times. It reminds me that the miraculous is right around the corner, and that the miraculous is also right here and right now. This promise of newness, it can seem sort of unimaginably vast. It's grand in this passage. It's broad and wide. And that's one of the reasons that I love the context of the verses that I've read to you this morning. Directly before this promise of a way in the wilderness, we hear this. This is what God says. God who made a way through the sea, a path through the mighty waters, who drew out the chariots and the horses, the army and the reinforcements together, and they lay there, never to rise again, to be extinguished like a wick. So there's some violent imagery here that might be a little off-putting for peace-loving Quakers. But if we can get past this idea of snuffing out your enemies like a wick, the underlying message here, if we can get past that, the underlying message here is about justice. And the reason that it is about justice is because this is a retelling of the story of the Israelites' escape from Egypt, from enslavement in Egypt. It's a retelling of the path to freedom. So the underlying message here is that God cares about justice, that God cares about freedom, and that anything is possible. Anything is possible. That love can transform our world. That the power of God, which we believe is a power of peace and love, that this power can overcome any obstacle. And we, of course, know that this is true. We have witnessed it ourselves. We witnessed it in India in 1928 with Gandhi's protests. We witnessed the power of love in Selma, Alabama in 1965. We witnessed the power of love at the University of Missouri in 2015. We know the wonderful, strange, wild, miraculous power of nonviolence, of peace and love, and how this power can transform even the most impossible situation. We know that peace can win over violence, that love can overcome hate. We know that a way can be made in the wilderness. We know that there are living streams of water in the wasteland. We know that freedom is possible, that justice is possible. And I believe that this is what this passage is saying to us. It's saying to us, don't forget, the Spirit is capable of wild and wonderful things. Don't forget that love will win. Don't forget that hate does not have the final say. Don't forget that justice is possible and that a better day is coming. A better day is coming. See, whispers the still small voice. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? Friends, there is a new thing growing among us. A way is being made in the wilderness of our world. There is living streams in this wasteland. And the miraculous is right around the corner. Or perhaps it is here today. All that is required of us on this journey is courage. All. Courage is a huge thing. But all that is required of us is courage. The courage to see as way opens before us. The courage to act when it is time for action. The courage to wait when it is time to season our leadings. All that is required of us is courage. I believe that New Garden Friends meeting is poised on the brink of something new and beautiful, of new work. I believe that we are poised on the brink of something challenging and radical. Perhaps we are poised on the brink of discovering a new way to be a Quaker in the 21st century. Or perhaps we are poised on the brink of discovering an old way to be Quaker in the 21st century. I think that we are ready. I think that we are able. I think that we have the tools and the strength that is required. All we need now is courage. See, I am doing a new thing. It springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and springs of living water in the wasteland.